Let's start with a proposition, and that is maybe your body isn't broken after all, but instead it's trying to tell you something and you just haven't been able to listen yet. Well, in this video, which is the second in a series I'm offering on the role of mindfulness practice in healing from chronic pain and other symptoms, we're going to take a look at how mindfulness practice related to the body helps us to recover from neuroplastic pain and symptoms more quickly. And you may be saying already to yourself, I already do pay so much attention to my body. That's part of my problem. And yes, it's very common for people who have chronic pain to become hypervigilant of their bodies, to continuously and obsessively check in with their symptoms. And really, that becomes the opposite of mindfulness of our bodies, right? Because we're not really paying attention to the here and now, to the basic truth of what's happening in our bodies. Instead, we're just continuing to build on that story that something is wrong, something needs to be fixed, something terrible is happening, and in turn, that sets off all kinds of alarms in our nervous systems and keeps us engaged in the pain-fear cycle. What I'm talking about is something very different and actually very simple to do. The problem is so many of us are disconnected from our bodies in so many different ways. We tend to live a lot from our necks up and try to think our way out of all kinds of problems. And if the thinking itself is part of the problem, it's not going to help us get out of the cycle that I just described. So what we're looking at today is a different way of just being with the body, being with sensations, that is much more helpful on our road to recovery. Now, I should also mention, before we get into some of the details, that mindfulness practice itself just has a lot of physical health benefits. It can help to lower our blood pressure. It can reduce inflammation. It has been shown to boost the immune system, can help us sleep better, and it gives us greater access to our parasympathetic nervous systems, which is the part of our nervous system that helps us to rest and digest, or to keep ourselves calm. And all of these are really good things in terms of helping us to recover and move past the chronic symptoms that we have. Now, being mindful of our bodies means being able to look at what's happening at the body with a sense of distance and objectivity, and the feeling that we don't need to create any kind of stories about what's happening in our bodies. We just want to take a look at what's happening, and over time we can learn more and more how to be with that sensation, whatever the sensation might be, without jumping to conclusions. And this kind of awareness of what's happening in our bodies helps us understand a little more about that mind-body connection. It sort of demystifies the relationship between how we feel when we have certain thoughts, and in turn, what thoughts occur when we have certain feelings in the body. And usually we are on such an autopilot mode that we don't really pay attention to what is actually happening with us, but instead we get caught up in the stories and we get caught up in a cycle of pain and fear. So one fundamental practice that we can use to re-engage with our bodies in a positive way is something called the body scan. It's a great entry into mindfulness practice and developing the skills necessary to be with the sensations that are happening in our bodies without getting over-identified and too caught up in any particular thing that's happening with us at any particular moment. It's similar to somatic tracking, which I've done another video on, but it does have some differences. And after this guided practice that I'll take you through, I'll explain some of those differences. But let's engage in a short practice and start by finding yourself in a comfortable position. Now, this can be done either seated, standing, lying down. The practice that I'm going to guide you through is going to assume that you're sitting down. So some of the language may incorporate that assumption. And let yourself get nice and comfortable, but still be alert. And then let your eyes close if that feels good. If you don't want to close your eyes, just let your gaze be down in front of you. Let your gaze be nice and soft so you're not really staring at anything in particular. And take a few nice deep breaths to settle yourself in. And just notice your body seated wherever you're seated, feeling the weight of your body on the chair, maybe on the floor. Continue to breathe normally and notice how each breath you take helps to bring more oxygen to the body. As you exhale, let each exhalation bring a little more release and relaxation into the simple act of sitting. And then notice your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet as they touch the floor, even if they're inside, socks and shoes. Maybe noticing weight and pressure, vibration, temperature, and bringing awareness to your legs against the chair. Maybe you're experiencing pressure here, pulsing, heaviness or lightness. Notice your back against your chair. And if you're not sitting back, just notice whatever sensations might be present in your back. And bring your attention into the stomach area. And if your stomach is tense or tight, see if you can let it soften. And then notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? If they are, see if you can allow them to soften, even if just a little bit. Next, notice your arms and feel any sensations in your arms. And then let your shoulders be soft. Now notice your neck and your throat. Let them be soft. Let them relax. And if at any point in this practice you just can't find a way to let that body part relax, then just let it be. Allow your jaw to soften. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. And just notice what it feels like to have a face. What sensations are present that let you know your face is there? And then feel, if you can, any sensations at the top of the head. If there's no sensation there, or if it's just neutral, then let it be neutral. Just note that. Now, notice your whole body present, and be aware of your whole body as best as you can. Take another breath, and when you're ready, open your eyes or bring your gaze back up to the screen. In fact, you might even want to just look around a bit, reacquaint yourself with your physical surroundings and move or shake. Coming back from that short period of meditation and noticing how you feel now. Now, some parts of the body may have been easier for you to connect with than others. At some times, there may have been something, a thought or an association with a sensation that may have been a little bit triggering for you, and that itself is normal. But overall, this practice is really designed to just help you be aware from a non-judgmental place of observation of what's going on in your body. Now, of course, if this practice feels like it's too much for you too soon, let it go and maybe try another day when you're feeling a little bit better, because what we don't want to do is set you back and have you afraid to even pay any attention to your body, right? So we're kind of looking for that sweet spot between trying to ignore your body and paying way too much attention to it with panic. And we're looking at that sweet spot where we do see what's happening with our bodies and we're not threatened by them, that we can actually cultivate that sort of equanimity to be present and observant for it. Now, I did mention that there are some differences between what we just did in the body scan and somatic tracking. And one of the big differences there is that somatic tracking deliberately infuses messages of safety that help our nervous system. So that's another practice that's available to you. But if you start off by doing some body scans, if you become a little more proficient, skillful in the body scan, then what you're doing is kind of, when you do move on to somatic tracking, you'll actually be supercharging that process of somatic tracking, because you'll already be grounded in the ability to take a look at physical sensations without falling into a kind of panic. Now, the somatic tracking video is a great one to check out. There's a link in there where you can request a free 10-minute recorded audio of a somatic tracking practice. And I'm going to put that same link into the notes for this video. But start off with short doses of body scans. See how that works for you. And if you have found this video helpful, if you are finding these practices helpful, hit the like button, ask questions in the comments section, leave a comment, tell me what else you might want to hear. And if you've been watching these videos and you're finding them helpful, but you still feel like you could use a little more help, a little more guidance, you can always connect with me and schedule a free 30-minute consultation. And the link to schedule that consultation is also in the notes for this video. But until then, practice your body scan. Try it out. And I will see you in the next video, where we will take a look at the connection between mindfulness and our emotions and how that all helps with chronic pain recovery. So see you in the next video. And remember, chronic pain is not a life sentence.